God revealed why this age gap love feels so strong. Beloved one, pause. Breathe. Feel the stillness pressing against your heart right now. Before your mind questions, before fear tries to interrupt, hear this clearly: what you are feeling is not random. I am Archangel Michael, and I come with a revelation that has been unfolding quietly around you for longer than you realize. This connection, the one that defies logic, timing, and even age, was not born from chance. Heaven has been watching it form, layer by layer, long before you understood its weight. You've wondered why it feels so intense. Why one look, one message, one memory can shake you to the core. Why this bond feels older than time yet painfully alive in the present. You tried to reason it away. You told yourself it was impractical, complicated, maybe even dangerous. But the more you resisted, the stronger it became. That's because this love is not rooted in years counted by calendars. It is rooted in recognition. And recognition bypasses logic entirely. Here is the truth many are afraid to say aloud: age gap love often awakens the soul faster because it strips away illusion. One carries wisdom shaped by storms survived. The other carries fire, vision, or renewal that was never meant to be dimmed. When these two meet, something holy ignites. God allows it because it accelerates growth, sometimes gently, sometimes painfully, but always purposefully. You felt seen in a way that startled you. Not admired. Not desired. Seen. As if this person looked past your masks, past your history, and touched the part of you that even you struggle to understand. That is no accident. Souls that carry complementary assignments recognize each other instantly. And when they do, the pull feels overwhelming, because the spirit remembers what the mind has forgotten. But listen closely now, because this is where many misunderstand God's intention. Strong does not always mean easy. Intense does not always mean immediate. Heaven did not allow this connection simply for romance. It was permitted because something in you needed awakening. Confidence. Truth. Courage. Healing. Or the courage to choose yourself at last. Sometimes God sends a person not to stay forever, but to activate what was dormant inside you. Still, this connection is different. You can feel it. It refuses to fade. Distance doesn't dissolve it. Silence doesn't kill it. Time doesn't weaken it. That is because both of you are being tested right now, not against each other, but against fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of loss. Fear of stepping outside what is socially acceptable. And fear is always the final gate before destiny shifts. You may not know this, but prayers have already been spoken about you, quiet ones, whispered ones, late-night ones filled with confusion and longing. Heaven heard them. And instead of shutting this down, God leaned in closer. Because what is forming here carries consequence. Not just for your heart, but for the path ahead of you. If this message is reaching you, it's because you are standing at a threshold. What you do next, how you respond, how you listen, how you choose, will determine whether this connection becomes a blessing that transforms you, or a lesson that frees you. Both are sacred. Both are allowed. But only one requires faith. Stay with me. In the next breath, I will reveal what God showed me about why this person cannot let you go, and why the age difference is not the obstacle you think it is, but the key. Beloved, lean in now. What I am about to speak is not for the curious, it is for the called. Because God did not reveal this age gap connection to torment you. He revealed it to explain what your spirit already knows but your mind has been resisting. This person cannot let you go, not because of obsession, not because of fantasy, but because your presence disrupts the timeline they were living in. When you entered their awareness, something inside them awakened that they had already buried. Hope. Desire. Truth. The version of themselves they thought was no longer possible. And when that awakening came, it came with fear, because awakenings always demand change. You see, age gap love feels stronger because it collapses false identities. One of you had settled into, "This is just how life is." The other arrived as living proof that life could still expand. That contrast creates friction and fire. God allows this kind of connection because it exposes comfort zones that were slowly becoming prisons. This is why the pull feels spiritual, not just emotional. This is why the silence between you is louder than words. This is why even when you try to move on, something gently, but firmly, pulls you back to awareness of them. It is not attachment alone. It is assignment. Heaven revealed something startling. This connection began forming before either of you were ready for it. That is why timing feels off. That is why circumstances feel complicated. God often introduces destiny before permission, so the soul learns what it wants before fear decides what it can handle. One of you carries wisdom forged by loss, responsibility, and endurance. The other carries renewal, curiosity, emotional risk, and a refusal to live half alive. When these energies meet, the older soul feels young again, not foolish, not reckless, alive. And the younger soul feels anchored, safe, deeply understood. This balance is rare. That is why it feels sacred. But hear this clearly now, the intensity you feel is not asking you to rush. It is asking you to be honest. Honest about what you feel. Honest about what you want. Honest about what you are afraid to lose. God does not bless denial. He blesses alignment. There has been confusion because both of you are sensing the weight of consequence. You are not teenagers playing with emotion. You are souls aware that choices now have ripple effects, families, reputations, futures. That awareness is heavy. But heaviness does not mean wrong. Sometimes it means important. You have questioned whether this is temptation or confirmation. Let me answer you plainly. Temptation drains you. Confirmation strengthens you, even when it scares you. And notice this, even on days when you try to resist, your spirit feels more awake, not depleted. That is confirmation. Still, God has not yet allowed full clarity, because clarity without courage creates regret. Right now, Heaven is watching how you steward what has been revealed. Will you rush and fracture it? Will you suppress and suffocate it? Or will you allow wisdom to walk alongside desire? This is why the age gap matters spiritually. It forces patience. It forces communication. It forces self-examination. It strips away impulsiveness and fantasy. What remains, if you allow it, is truth. And truth is the only foundation God will build on. There is something else you must know. One of you has been praying not for romance, but for peace. The other has been praying not for passion, but for purpose. And God answered both prayers through the same connection. That is why it feels impossible to ignore. If you've noticed sudden moments of vulnerability, unexpected honesty, or emotions surfacing without warning, this is not instability. This is exposure. God is peeling back layers so neither of you builds on illusion. Do not misunderstand me. This does not mean this connection is guaranteed to become a relationship. Heaven is not forcing an outcome. Heaven is revealing a crossroads. And what you choose at this crossroads will echo far beyond romance. In the next moment, I will reveal what God showed me about the decision that must be made soon, and why delaying it too long could shift the purpose of this connection entirely. Stay with me, because what comes next explains why your heart feels restless, and why time suddenly feels urgent. Beloved, feel the shift in the air right now. This is where many hearts tremble, because what God revealed next is not comfortable, but it is liberating. The restlessness you've been feeling is not anxiety. It is summoning. Heaven is pressing gently but firmly because a decision is approaching, and neutrality will no longer protect you. Here is what was shown to me: delay is not neutral in this connection. Silence is not rest. Waiting without intention slowly transforms purpose into confusion. God is patient, yes, but destiny has seasons. And this age gap love has entered a season where clarity must replace ambiguity. One of you is standing at the edge of honesty, knowing that one conversation, one truthful admission, could change everything. The other senses this, even if no words have been spoken. That is why the tension feels electric. That is why your heart races during quiet moments. That is why time feels compressed, as if something invisible is urging, now, now, now. But understand this: God is not demanding a confession born of pressure. He is asking for alignment born of courage. There is a difference. Pressure produces panic. Alignment produces peace, even when the choice is hard. The age gap has made both of you hyper-aware of consequences. You've asked yourself, what if this hurts someone? What if this fails? What if I'm misunderstood? These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of maturity. But maturity must not become paralysis. Wisdom that never moves eventually rots into regret. Heaven showed me something many do not expect: this connection is testing how you handle truth under pressure. Not whether you choose each other, but whether you choose integrity. God is less concerned with the label you place on this bond and more concerned with how you carry it. There is a temptation to keep things unspoken, undefined, emotionally suspended. It feels safer that way. No lines crossed. No promises made. No risks taken. But hear this clearly, undefined connections drain more energy than honest endings or courageous beginnings. That is why you feel tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. One of you has already crossed an internal line. You know it. You feel it when you pray. You feel it when you imagine a future and someone else quietly disappears from the picture. You feel it when jealousy surfaces unexpectedly, or when the thought of them choosing someone else creates a physical ache. That line matters. God saw it the moment it happened. The other is wrestling with restraint, trying to be responsible, measured, controlled. You've told yourself you are protecting everyone involved. But what God revealed is this: protection that avoids truth eventually becomes harm. Not because of intention, but because of erosion. This is where the prophetic warning comes, not as threat, but as mercy. If clarity is avoided too long, this connection will shift roles. What was meant to awaken will become a distraction. What was meant to heal will become a wound. Not because love was false, but because courage was delayed. Yet hear the hope in this: it is not too late. Heaven is not withdrawing its presence. God is simply asking you to choose how this story is stewarded. With truth, or with fear. The age difference is not the issue God is addressing right now. The issue is honesty. Honesty with yourself. Honesty with God. Honesty with the other heart involved, even if that honesty leads to boundaries rather than union. There is great power in saying, "This is what I feel," without demanding an outcome. There is holiness in naming truth and letting God decide the next step. You are not required to solve the future. You are required to stop hiding from the present. Pay attention to what happens when you imagine speaking honestly. Does your chest tighten, or does it open? Fear tightens. Truth expands. Even when tears follow, peace eventually arrives. And this is the final thing revealed in this moment. One act of courage now will save months, or years, of emotional confusion later. God always offers clarity before consequence. Always. In the next breath, I will reveal what heaven showed me about the outcome paths, what unfolds if truth is spoken, and what unfolds if it is avoided. One path brings peace faster than you expect. The other lingers far longer than you want. Stay with me. What comes next may change how you see this connection forever. Beloved, steady your heart now. What heaven revealed next is not a verdict, it is a vision of paths. Two streams flowing from the same source, each shaped by choice, not chance. God showed me what unfolds when truth is spoken, and what slowly forms when it is avoided. Hear this not with fear, but with reverence, because both paths teach, but only one heals quickly. When truth is spoken, calmly, respectfully, without manipulation, something breaks open that you have been carrying alone. The tension loosens. The fog lifts. Even if the outcome is uncertain, peace arrives first. Why? Because heaven honors alignment. God does not require agreement to release peace, He requires honesty. In this path, the age gap stops being a shadow and becomes context, acknowledged, addressed, and handled with wisdom rather than secrecy. If truth is spoken, the bond either deepens with clarity or transforms with dignity. Either way, confusion ends. Boundaries become clear. Expectations are named. And something surprising happens: your identity stabilizes. You stop overthinking every word, every pause, every sign. You return to yourself. That is healing. In this path, God teaches both of you how to love without possession and desire without control. If the connection is meant to continue, it does so slowly, sturdily, protected by integrity. If it is meant to pause or end, it does so without poisoning the heart. You are left stronger, not shattered. Awake, not ashamed. Now listen carefully to the other path, not to scare you, but to save you. When truth is avoided, the connection does not disappear. It mutates. What was once sacred curiosity becomes unspoken expectation. What was once mutual respect turns into silent bargaining. One begins to hope more. The other begins to withdraw more. Neither says it aloud. Both feel it deeply. In this path, the age gap becomes heavier, not because of years, but because of imbalance. One waits. The other delays. And delay begins to feel like rejection, even when it isn't meant to be. Resentment grows quietly. Prayers become confusing. Peace becomes conditional. This is not because love was false, but because truth was withheld too long. God showed me something sobering: unspoken truth creates emotional debt. And debt always demands payment, through exhaustion, heartbreak, or regret. Heaven never desires this for you. That is why this message has reached you before the debt compounds. But hear me, this is not condemnation. This is compassion. God is intervening now because He sees how deeply you care, even if neither of you knows how to say it properly yet. Here is the mercy hidden in this revelation: you are still early enough to choose well. Nothing irreversible has happened. Nothing has been ruined. Heaven is still near. Grace is still active. And courage is still available. The age gap love you are experiencing is powerful because it mirrors a deeper truth. You are being asked to mature emotionally beyond patterns you once accepted. No more half answers. No more emotional hiding. No more hoping someone else will decide for you. This connection arrived to teach you how to stand in truth without aggression and love without fear. And this is what God whispered next, softly but firmly: you are not responsible for how others judge your truth, but you are responsible for honoring it. Approval is not required for obedience. Silence is not the same as peace. One of you has been waiting for a sign that it is safe to speak. This is the sign. Not to force an outcome, but to free your spirit from suspension. When truth is spoken in humility, God handles the aftermath. Always. If you are wondering when, the answer is not a date, but a readiness. When your intention is clean. When your words are grounded. When you are prepared to accept any outcome with grace. That is the moment heaven supports. In the next breath, I will reveal the final thing God showed me, the deeper reason this connection touched you so strongly, even if it does not unfold the way you expect, and how it ties directly to the next season of your life. Stay with me. This final revelation brings closure, clarity, and a peace that surpasses understanding. Beloved, receive this final revelation with a quiet heart. What God showed me last is the reason this connection marked you so deeply, and why, no matter the outcome, you will not walk away unchanged. This age gap love did not enter your life to confuse you. It entered to complete a cycle and open a new season that could not begin until something inside you was awakened. Here is the truth heaven revealed: this connection touched the part of you that was ready to rise. Not the wounded part. Not the lonely part. The becoming part. That is why it felt so sudden, so strong, so undeniable. God often uses unexpected vessels to awaken dormant identity. And once identity awakens, it cannot return to sleep. You were shown that you are still capable of deep connection, perhaps after years of believing otherwise. You were reminded that your heart is not obsolete, your desire is not shameful, and your future is not behind you. Or, if you are the younger one, you were shown that depth, safety, and emotional intelligence matter more than surface excitement. Either way, heaven corrected a lie you had quietly accepted. This is why the intensity mattered. Mild encounters do not transform lives. Sacred disruption does. God revealed that this bond served as a mirror. In it, you saw who you have become, and who you are still called to be. That mirror was necessary before the next door could open. Whether that door includes this person or someone else, you are now prepared in a way you were not before. And here is the peace many have been waiting for: you did not imagine this. The connection was real. The feelings were mutual, though expressed differently. The recognition was spiritual. And the timing, however imperfect, was divinely allowed. But heaven also made this clear: outcomes do not define obedience. You are not measured by whether this becomes a lifelong partnership. You are measured by whether you honored truth, growth, and love while it was in your care. If this connection continues, it will do so with greater clarity, humility, and intention. If it does not, it will still bless you, by releasing you from old emotional ceilings and preparing you for what comes next. Nothing here was wasted. God showed me that after this season, your discernment sharpens. Your standards rise. Your fear of judgment loosens. You no longer shrink your truth to fit other people's comfort. That is the fruit of this encounter. And this is the final assurance heaven gave: you are not late, and you are not wrong. You are on time for the version of yourself you are becoming. Love found you here because you were finally ready to receive it consciously, not desperately, not blindly, but awake. So release the need to label this experience as success or failure. It was initiation. Initiation into honesty. Into courage. Into mature love. into alignment with who you truly are now. As you step forward, choose peace over pressure. Choose truth over fantasy. Choose courage over fear. God will meet you in that choice every time. If this message resonated, if something in your spirit felt recognized, receive that as confirmation that heaven is near you in this season. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay honest. And remember this as you move forward: what God awakens, He does not abandon. There is more unfolding, more clarity, more connection, more purpose than you can see from where you stand now. Walk gently. Walk truthfully. And trust that the one who revealed this love strength is also guiding what comes next.